USA Warrior Stories is a not-for-profit organization designed to record, archive, and share videos of veteran stories, to help veterans make a connection with one another and to help us all better understand their sacrifices for our freedoms.
Okay, my name is Herbert Benson Kid. I was raised in West Philadelphia around the corner and in North Philadelphia. And I joined the Marine Corps, volunteered at age 17, 1967. My grandmother, Miss Kidd, had to sign for me to join the Marine Corps. She didn't want me to go, but I told her I wanted to, and she signed for me to join the Marine Corps at age 17. This is my photo book from the Nam. This litifies my tour of duty from the very beginning. Okinawa, Danang, Phu Bai, Quang Tri, Thien, Dong Ha, C2, C3, and C4, Camp Carroll, the Rock Pile, the Laotian border, the DMZ. This is where we were getting our ass kicked at these places right here where you see the stars. Khe Sahn and Kowloon and the Ashan Valley. Dong Ha Mountain and Hill 57. That's when we became a BLT at that point. Battalion Landing Team 226, USS Dubuque. You know, we went back to Quaviet, Mai Loc, Mikey Tire, Little Big John, LZ Margo, where we got wiped out. When I left to go to boot camp in June of '67, I went to Marine boot camp at Parris Island. Platoon 180, that was 1st Battalion, and here I am, right here, Herbert E. Benson, that's me right there, 17, and here I am right here. That's me. That's at our final inspection before we were getting ready to graduate. I had a black drill instructor, and his name was Staff Sergeant Christian. There's Staff Sergeant Christian right there as our unit was going through our training at PI. He sort of like picked on me, so I was thinking at the time. He made me stronger than what I thought I was because he always told me I wasn't going to make it and that I'm too small and I'm too young. My MOS is a 1371, Combat Engineer. And by me being young as I was when I went into service, I went to, after boot camp, I was stationed at Lejeune, at Camp Lejeune. And at Camp Lejeune, I was attached to the Engineer Battalion in the rear of the base. So they told me that if you volunteer to go to EOD school, because it was a volunteer thing back then, and you get you get an extra rank. I'd be a Lance Corporal instead of a PFC, and I would move on. And this is what I wanted, to get rank. In December of '67, while I was at Lejeune, I came home on a leave from the base. You know, I would take the weekend hops up to Philly, and then I came home on a 30-day leave. And so, you know, my grandmother asked me, how long you gonna be home, Herbie? I said, well, I got a 30-day leave, Grandma. So she said, well, where you going? I said, I'm just going to California. You know, wanted to keep her in the dark of things, you know. But I had already put my name on the list, the volunteer, to go to Vietnam as soon as I turned 18. When I was ready to leave home, I told my grandmother and my girlfriend at that time and the rest of the family that I had volunteered to go to Vietnam. And they asked me, was I crazy? You know, they said, are you crazy? I said, no, I'm not crazy. I said, I want to go fight. I want to get medals. I want to get, you know, I want to do something. We left in March, this month, 50-something years ago. I landed in Vietnam, I believe it was March the 3rd. I got down in Da Nang, we caught the Yellow Bird down there, and I'm down in Danang. I must have been on ground for about maybe an hour and a half, if that long. And all of a sudden, the siren starts going off down in Danang. You know, so I'm looking at people, I'm seeing people running. So I'm saying, well, I wonder where everybody going? You know, I didn't know none of this stuff yet. All of a sudden, you know, you could hear the incoming rounds coming in, you know, boom.
Rocket attack on the U.S. Air Base at Danang kills 8 Americans, wounds 173, and destroys 11 aircraft.
One came in very close to me. My body went towards my right, and I ended up landing in one of those trenches. They had zigzag trenches in Danang. So I'm down in the trench, and I'm howling, and I'm screaming, I don't have no legs, I don't have no legs. You know, I lost my legs, you know, because I couldn't feel nothing from my waist down. I'm in there howling and saying, I don't have no legs, I don't have no legs. And some guy, he looks up and he looks over, he said, man, you got your legs, man, you got your legs. He said, you just lucky. He said, that was the heat from it, and it makes you feel that way. He said, you just was real lucky. And when everything was over with, I said to myself, this shit is real.
Next morning, the damage is more fully surveyed. 140mm rockets leave huge craters. The 2-story buildings are reduced to rubble. Da Nang is headquarters for all marine operations in Vietnam.
Da Nang was known as Rocket City back then. I was assigned to a helicopter going up to Phu Bai. And this is the picture from Phu Bai, and I just got there. So I went to report the 3rd Engineer Battalion, because that's what I am, an engineer. And so I'm all green, you know what I mean? I ain't been in the mud yet. And I get up to Phu Bai. I'm, you know, chilling for a couple of weeks up there. It's sort of quiet up at Phu Bai. It's activity, but it's not as bad as it was down at Rocket City. We caught a convoy from Phu Bai to Camp Carroll. This is the first convoy that I went on. This is me at Camp Carroll. That's Camp Carroll. When I got to Carroll, my buddy Carnell was standing there talking to me. You know, he's bigger than me, and I'm a little guy. And he's saying, man, what the hell you doing over here, man? What you doing over here? You know, getting all on me about it and everything. I said, man, I'm a Marine just like you now. You know, Carnell, I'm a Marine too. I said, I'm over here fighting. You know, and while we talking, we could hear the incoming rounds coming in. So I said, yo, homie, I'm gonna get back with you, I gotta go. So I shoots down that way to where my hole is. And he goes back over that way because he's a 106 recoilless rifle operator. So he's up on the top. I'm down on the side over there of Carroll, on the mountainside. And so I goes over to my hole, I'm down in my hole, we wait till we get to all clear. And when we get to all clear, you know, because they hit us hard that morning, and after we get to all clear, I goes back up to the top side, and I runs back over where Carnell was at and everything. So, you could see people that were getting hurt and then people that were helping people and stuff like that. So I'm still trying to find my homie. So I go over to the boy, I said, yo, my man. I said, where's Carnell at? He said, who? I said, Carnell from Philly. He said, oh man, he's a little bit of everywhere. I said, what you talking about, man? You know? And then he had told me that he had took a direct hit. And I grabbed the guy, man, I'm getting ready to yo, man, you know, I'm getting ready to do something to him. But I had to catch myself, because this is my homie. And he had just got finished talking to me about what am I doing over here and everything. And so that was when after that, they said that, you know, they couldn't find a body. And so they didn't even have the parts of him. So I said that I want to take whatever they got back home and tell Mr. and Mrs. Hurd what has happened here, you know. And so when I did return home, I did go around Delancey Street and talk to them and told them what had happened. Walter Seawright, we were down in Danang area, down south by the time Seawright got to the 26th Marines. Carnell Hurd was with 19, the 1st Battalion 9th Marines. And Walter Seawright was with Golf Company, 226. And I was attached to Golf Company. as an engineer, 226. All of a sudden, we get ambushed. They was all around and we didn't even know it. And they start popping, we start popping. Everybody's popping, you know. And the firefight ended. When the firefight ended, Seawright was dead, you know. And I had to help carry him up for the helicopter, you know. And cause they hit you and then they disappear. Like they had a lot of underground networks over there, you know. They would hit you, man, and then when you go to look for their asses, they ain't nowhere around. A lot of that kind of stuff was going on, and that used to mess you up mentally. The 26 Marines were known as 2nd Battalion, 26 Marines, the Nomads. That's what we were known as, the Nomads. And we were anywhere and everywhere. Every morning, we made the sweep from Carroll to Khe Sahn. So I got the mine detector, and I'm sweeping the road as the truck's behind me as we get ready to go up to Khe Sahn. We did this, you know, periodically for a couple of weeks. You know, we were, you know, gathering and people introducing themselves to each other and you meeting the brothers, and we called ourselves Soul Brothers and Bloods. That's what we called ourselves. It wasn't that Crip thing or none of that other stuff. It was just Bloods. This was in '68. So all the black guys and the Hispanic people and all that, we bind together, and all the rednecks and all your hillbillies and other different people, you know, had their little thing. They had a Confederate flag hanging up on the top, you know, hanging up there at Carroll. You know, we talked about stuff like that. You know, the Confederate flag you got up here at Carroll, and we over here fighting for to stop communism, and you got a Confederate flag up here and all that kind of stuff. So it was a lot of things on our minds. And so, you know, bad situations cause people to unite. And so black people were uniting in Vietnam. And we felt like now we're equal. You got an M16, I got an M16. You got grenades, I got grenades. You got bandoliers, I got bandoliers and with clips and things on it. You're not gonna call me boy. You know, you're not gonna call me a nigger or none of those things that were being said back then to black people. And so, and we stood for that. And we united with that. We had started doing this thing called the DAP. This is in 1968 and 69. We started doing this thing called the DAP. The Soul Brothers would do it, you know, and this thing was called the DAP. And this is where it started at. It started in Vietnam, and it started up north, and was known as the Mau Mau. You know, we were just trying to get our unity and trying to get our recognition and trying to get what should have been deserved to us as the gallant fighters that we all were. I mean, we were all Marines, black, white, Indian, whoever you were still a Marine. You know, we were Marines, and in combat, we had to act like that. But when we weren't in combat, everybody went off into their little circles, little segregated circles. But when the shit hit the fan, everybody had to come together, because it's survival. Here's more of the unit. So there were white guys in the unit just as well. This is the 26 Marines. This is in Cam Lo province. And I was assigned to the 2nd Battalion, 26 Marines as their engineer, as their combat engineer. And so anytime a unit went out, they had to have engineers with them because we had booby traps, we got this, you got that going on, you know what I mean? We have, you know, we had to set up Bangalore torpedoes, the clear mine paths and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Minefields and stuff, you know. We had a lot of work that we did as engineers. I'm still asking about my rank that never caught up with me yet from Lejeune for going to EOD school. So it hasn't caught up with me yet, and they're telling me that it's gonna catch up with you, but you know, I'm being moved around now. I'm getting shifted, and it might be back where you were or something, but it's gonna catch up with you. This is the story we're getting from the officers that I'm getting, and a lot of other brothers that I found out about later on was getting the same story. It's going to catch up with you. Everything is going to catch up with you. And then the shit hit the fan. We got up there at Khe Sanh getting hit like crazy. Khe Sanh is getting hit, the air base is getting hit up there. We were getting ready for B-52 bombers to bombard the area for 2 weeks straight, night and day. Then after they did that for 2 weeks straight, came the F-14s with the napalm.
The aerial bombardment on the North Vietnamese at Khe Sanh was the most intense in the history of warfare. Navy, Air Force, and Marine pilots flew more than 24,000 sorties.
They dropped napalm all around us everywhere, you know, thinking that this might be getting them. We didn't know what was getting ready to happen yet, but we knew something was happening. It was too much artillery. It was gunfires, the 155 and the 175. They was all doing their thing up there. You know, we were out there and they told us the battleship New Jersey getting ready to fire. You got to dig depth. That meant you had to dig 6 feet. Steps. You know, we dug steps and you go down, you know, they're long, you know, and we were down inside there, you know, like locked in, you know, and you know, I mean, we did that a lot of times. You get down in your hole and you lock in until you think it's time, and then you come up and start busting, then you go back down. You know what I mean? Khe Sanh was getting ready to get tore up. It getting ready to tear a new asshole up there in Khe Sanh. We had like 2 or 3 divisions of NVA coming at us. So I was assigned to 226. So 226 is a blocking force. We were being a blocking force. And so a blocking force up there in the mountains with divisions coming at you is a real rough number. And you can't see up there. You couldn't see up there at all because you're in the mountains and you got jungle grass, you got trees, you got all this stuff up there. And the French did us real dirty because the French up and left all their equipment there. And so it made it hard, and then the big fight came. It was right before Martin Luther King got killed or something, because King got killed while we were up there. There was a lot of stuff going on. Dr. King got killed while we were up there. We shut the Nam down for 24 hours up there where we were. We don't know if it spread down south yet, but Hanoi Hannah was on the microphones, on the speakers up in the mountains, up in the trees, and you could hear the speakers saying, soul brother, you number one, you buku dinky doll, you fight over here, and your oppressor is fighting you at home, and he's fighting us, and this and that is going on, and your leader, Martin Luther King, has been assassinated. Then they played the record from the States out there to us. They played Martha Reed and the Vandellas record, Nowhere to Run, Nowhere to Hide. The mountain area was so rough up there, and you know, you could hear the planes flying over there where we were, all up in the area, and it was like a mist falling down on us, you know, and we couldn't understand what the mist was. It wasn't like rain, it was like a mist. You know, at nighttime, you know, you dig your little hole, and you sit in your hole with your weapon, and you chill, you know, and we in our holes and stuff, and as the daylight came, you know, you could see the trees starting to turn a brownish color. You know, the leaves, the grass, the jungle grass, everything was starting to turn brown. And then within about a day or two's time, it looked like fall up in the mountains. So we knew that was the Agent Orange. We found out that was the Agent Orange spray that they had sprayed up there. So we were up there living in this Agent Orange, digging foxholes in it. This is our AO, area of operation.
More than 103,000 tons of bombs were dropped on the besieging forces. In addition, The enemy was pounded by more than 100,000 rounds of artillery and mortar fire.
I witnessed the sergeant of my engineer team disintegrate. You numb yourself. You, like me and you could be friends, but I can't allow myself to get too emotional with you, because we're talking right now. 2 minutes from now, you might got hit. A round might have just came in and you gone. And now I'm all messed up because I was just talking to you. So you learned how to keep your feelings in one place and keep reality in another. Put it that way. You can't let your feelings get involved in a lot of things. Like I said, there were times when friends of mine or people that I grew up with, when they got killed, you know, the next op that we going on, you know, whether it's a S&D or not, when we get in there, I'm gonna make it a S&D, because I'm going for revenge for my friend. So that's your feelings coming involved. We went on plenty of search and destroy missions, S&Ds. We did plenty of them. We did it before My Lai Massacre. We did it before Hamburger Hill. We did it before a lot of those things happened. All these things was happening over in Vietnam by the United States and by our troops, because I was one of them and I knew what we did. And so all these things happened, yeah, and you could smell death, and you know, it's a smell that you never ever will forget, you know, and you know, to the day, certain smells can trigger me. When we on the ship and stuff, we can take pictures like this, because when you go out to the field, there ain't no more of that, you know. So this is how we traveled when we were on the ship. So you take all your pictures while you're on the ship. This is us on the ship. These are ship pictures when we're out at sea. This is us. I'm a demolition man. This is us coming, you know, this is how we stayed dirty like this. We didn't like to get clean. When you go on your in-country R&R, that China Beach, that's down south. When I went down south to the real China Beach, not the one that's on TV, but I got a picture of me down there at China Beach too. You get a 5-day R&R at China Beach, and you get your out-country R&R wherever you want to go. That's on our list. And I did that in Kowloon. I went to Hong Kong. This is in Hong Kong. This is the girl that I was in love with in Hong Kong on my little 7 days. And this is the Astro Hotel that I stayed in Kowloon, you know, in New Hong Kong. And this is me at China Beach. That's China Beach. That's the China Beach that everybody talks about on TV. It's not like that for real, though. When we were at LZ Margo, we got annihilated. The 2nd Battalion, 26 Marines were annihilated. We made our round perimeter around the LZ, and people were making their holes. You know, you start making your holes, you know, where you're gonna dig in at until we find out what's next. And we had been there about maybe about an hour. Time over there, you lose time. But we had been there for a period of time. Then the next thing you know, you hear something go. Bloop, 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 bloop. You just keep hearing this noise. Then all of a sudden everybody said, incoming, incoming. And that shit started landing. I mean, they had us, they like sat there and watched us dig our holes and calculated where every hole was at damn near. You understand? Where every foxhole was at. And the guy that was in the hole with me, you know, when that joint came in on us, where we were at, you know, I mean, it came over top of my head. You know, I'm down inside the hole, and that thing came in, boom! And when it did that, you know, I'm squinching like this here, And then I look over, I see he gone. He bleeding, blood everywhere. I grab him and throw him over top of me a little bit. You know, because he gone. So I grabs him and I throws him over top of me, and I'm down there and I'm still, you know, I'm saying, please God, don't let this next one be in this hole. You know what I mean? Because it hit over top of the hole just a minute ago. I don't want you to hit this hole. I don't want to go. I got to get back home. You know, that's what I'm going through. And after that, you know, I didn't get hit. I'm here. And, you know, we got him, you know, I got him off of me and pulled him up, and we got the rest of the casualties. We were scraping up guys with rakes and everything. I mean, you know, the human body is so delicate and so fragile. You know, we ain't nothing. You know, I mean, we liquefy, we gel, all that stuff. I've seen this in combat. So, you know, our bodies are nothing. And so it was really something. I mean, you know, like I got this hat, you know, Vietnam, unfucking believable. Some real shit. This is something that I'm sorry to say, but I gotta say it. I watched a lot of brothers, black people, get in combat in Vietnam, and while we fighting, they often nod. And while they nodding, pow, they gone. You understand what I'm saying? Because they taking them pills and they was nodding. A lot of people died from being high. Only thing I did in Vietnam was smoke marijuana. If a fly came by and I'm smoking some weed, pow, I got it. It made me alert. You understand what I'm saying? So those things made me very alert. And so, but that taking a downer pill or a downer substance, anything that was a downer, I was always and still am totally against that. Because when you need it, you're not going to be able to respond because you're in a nod, fentanyl, whatever they're doing out there today. It hurts. And I learned that in combat. And I saw a lot of white people and black people get caught up on those Bernoctol pills that made them become heroin addicts when they came home. My grandmother had told me to keep the 91st Psalm with me. You know, the 91st Psalm, and it's very strong. 1,000 shall fall at that side and 10,000 at that right hand, but ye who have faith in me shall not come near. This was a strong piece of information that my grandmother gave me. And she told me to read that and keep that, and that'll help you survive. And it did. I'm here. I got the picture of when I left Danang with my cousin. My cousin was coming in and I was leaving. I was 19 years old. And when I was getting out the service, the lady told me, no, sir, you mean you're coming to enlist. You're not coming to get out. I said, ma'am, I just got back from Vietnam. And I went over to the next desk, and I told the guy that was there, I said, you know, that lady over there, she was a civilian, and I said, you know, she trying to tell me that I'm getting ready to come in the service, and I'm telling her that I'm just out the service, and that I'm just getting back from Vietnam and everything. I said, I've been to Khe Sahn, man, this place. You ain't got to say nothing. He said, what's your rank? I said, well, I'm supposed to be a sergeant. I said, it never caught up with me yet. I said, but they keep telling me it's going to catch up with me. He said, do you have your discharge paper? I said, yeah. He said, what's on it? I said, PFC. He said, that's what's going to stay on there. He said, because they never put it on there. I said, well, they said it was going to follow me. He said, well, you would probably have to, pay for all that kind of stuff for them to do the paperwork. It was 25 cents a sheet and all that kind of stuff back then that they was telling me. So I said, wow. He said, well, look, man. He said, let me tell you something. He said, you came back from Vietnam and you survived. He said, I'm going to put sergeant on your ID. He said, you just never get to pay for it. He said, but you're out the service now. He said, so you never get paid for it, but you have it on your ID. This is the picture that they took in California when I got back from the Nam. We were the French protege, so they took a picture of me in the French protege. I didn't take this picture, they took this picture. And these are what was known to me then that we rated. You know, we were never debriefed. I got on the TWA and came straight to Philly. Straight to my grandmom's house. I just got finished killing. You understand what I'm saying? I never got debriefed, and I'm 19 years old. You know, I'm feeling naked because I ain't got no weapon with me. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going through, you'd be surprised what I went through. Then I was in the Naval Hospital, the Philadelphia Naval Hospital. I was in there for like about maybe 8 months or 9 months. They had me on T-ramp, the psych ward. Said I was crazy. They were trying to do an lobotomy on me. They wanted to take my brain and say that something was wrong with me. Do you think it's something wrong with me? I was a rebellious, bucking person when I got out the service because I felt as though the government turned its back on me. And I wore the scales of justice around my neck and the mau around my neck to represent how I felt about the war. You know, I do things to help veterans to the day, and this is the post that I belong to, Liberty Bell Chapter 266, Vietnam Vets of America. You know, and that's at the wall. 1st Battalion, 9th Marines, James Carnell Herbert. That's at the wall in Washington. I went to go see his name. This is Walter Seawright, 2nd Battalion, 26th Marine, 3rd Marine Division, KIA, June the 6th, 68. It took me years to go up to the wall to do this. This is a combat picture, Brother Bebop. Oh, is that going to be in the way? Let me make it.
Okay.
Okay. The recognition should go to those who did it. Officers wear ribbons and medals that we actually did the work for. You know, all these ribbons and medals, all these are ribbons and medals that my unit received, you know. During that time that I was in the service, we all did a lot of things that we might felt as though took our right to go to heaven or to the hereafter or whatever you believe in. But as you grow and as you pray and as you ask for forgiveness, you find that there is a place for you.